Hello, Chaplain David here with this edition of the Gooden Weekly Chapel Notes. And this week, our reading in chapel was a well-known story in the Christian tradition, and it's the story of the disciple Thomas after the resurrection of Jesus. In John's Gospel, we're told, on that first day of the week, after the women had discovered that the tomb was empty, and Mary of Magdala encounters the risen Christ and goes to tell the disciples. Of course, none of them believe her, and they run back and find the tomb empty, and they don't know what to think. And then later that day, while they're in a locked room for fear of the authorities, Jesus appears to them. And the first thing Jesus says is, "Peace be with you." A not unfamiliar greeting to Jewish people, because in their tradition, that's how you enter a home. You wish peace to be on that house, and you wish peace to be present. And then Jesus shows them his hands and his side, the wounds, and has them, just so they understand he's not a ghost, but that he's physically present. And again, then he says, "Peace be with you." Now, for whatever reasons, Thomas is not in that room at that time. And later, when the disciples encounter him, they say, "We have seen the Lord." Thomas, of course, doesn't believe this is possible. And so Thomas says, "Look, unless I see the wounds in his hands and touch them, and the wounds in his side and touch them, I will not believe." Which is not unreasonable, is it? Since the others had already had that experience, Thomas had not had that experience. Sometimes it can be easy for us to project onto others and ask of others things that we know because of our own experience that they haven't experienced. So then, later in the week, Jesus again appears to the disciples in a locked room. And this time, Thomas is there. Again, when Jesus arrives, Jesus says, "Peace be with you." And then he allows Thomas to have the experience his friends and companions had had the week earlier. And Thomas's response is, "My Lord and my God." Well, sometimes, in tradition, Thomas is often known as Doubting Thomas. I prefer to call him Realistic Thomas. He wants to know the experience is real. Isn't that what we all want? The other thing I thought was of note in this time, in this very familiar story, is Jesus saying, "Peace be with you," every time he arrives, bringing peace with him into the room. And I think that might be an important thing for us to be remembering now as this adventure and journey we are on with COVID-19 goes on and on. To bring peace when we enter places, and to greet people in peace and pass peace on. Now, of course, maintaining 6-foot distance make connection a little difficult, so I'm going to suggest that since we cannot use our hands or our bodies to connect like we once did, I'm going to suggest we think about our eyes. Eye contact. Looking at people and wishing them peace. When we encounter those who are serving us at a restaurant pickup or a grocery store or a delivery person or the postal store, anybody, we're out walking, we see someone across the street, maintaining social distance does not keep us from looking at someone and saying peace or thank you or I appreciate your work. And since we cannot connect physically with our bodies, we can connect with our eyes. So perhaps this week we can look each other in the eyes and say, "Peace. Thank you. I appreciate what you're doing. I wish you the very best. And peace be with you."